Hi, this is Roger Green, host of the Surfing the Mesh Tsunami podcast. This week, we were offering 5 conversations from episode 18. Our discussion with Society for Sober Livers founder and visionary Jenn Jones and principal strategic advisor Beth Lehman, talking about HOPE, their new support program for people who have harmed their bodies through alcohol use disorder, or AUD, either active, which means still consuming alcohol, or in remission, which means sober, at least at this time. By the way, HOPE stands for Healing Others with Peers and Education. This conversation focuses on the key elements of the HOPE program. Jenn describes the program's core elements, starting with a monthly video call that is a support meeting one month and an educational program the next. The program will also include a Facebook group where individuals can continue their conversations in private, plus a weekly blog and an array of educational resources. Beth adds that stopping drinking and addressing the addictive behavior are not necessarily the same thing, and that HOPE will help individuals address their overall behavior, not merely their drinking. Jenn adds that sober living is addressing issues holistically and anticipates that ideas and activities will, as she puts it, bubble up for members. She also anticipates scaling the program up in time as interest grows. I ask how a provider can help patients find their ways to sober livers and HOPE. Beth says the key is for the group to deliver educational material to the offices where patients go, transplant centers, things like that. Jenn notes that the Zoom address for the support meetings is not publicly available, so people must enroll to be invited. When enrolling on the Sober Livers website, which is soberlivers.org, they can learn more about the organization and its other resources. HOPE is an admirable and ambitious effort to provide support that does not otherwise exist today for people who need it badly. Personal stories that Jenn and Beth share are compelling, and their plans and goals invigorating, so just sit back, listen, learn, absorb. When you're done, check out our LinkedIn discussion group and check out and perhaps contribute to soberlivers.org to support HOPE. Let's talk about the elements of your program. As I say, about a decent chunk of our audience are providers, either physicians or allied health professionals, a decent chunk of those in the U.S. So I think those people would want to know exactly what's in the program, understanding now that the purpose is to provide peer-to-peer support in a place that peers have never been able to get support. Paint a picture of what that support looks like, please.
Jenn Jones.
I'll start, and then Beth, if you want to add in to anything that I may miss. We are creating a comprehensive program for people with alcohol-associated liver disease or transplant due to alcohol that also are struggling with or in remission from alcohol use disorder. And as I mentioned before, it is a no-cost program. And initially, we are starting out with meetings once a month on the second Tuesday of every month. And we're going to have meetings that are going to be truly just support meetings every other month, where we are talking with our members and asking them how their day, how their week, and any questions that they may have for medical professionals, in which we're going to make a list of these things. And then the next month, we'll have a medical professional come in, either from the mental health side or the physical health side. And that can include anybody from a hepatologist to a PA to a dermatologist, because there are so many facets that come together and so many needs for somebody who has alcohol-associated liver disease. And as Beth said one day, she doesn't need any ologists added to her doctor list, but you're met with a lot of ologists when you're there. So another thing that we're offering our members, the people who come and participate in our meetings, will have access to a private Facebook group. And this is going to be private just for the people who choose to come to our meetings, so that people can continue the conversation. And for people who are not, that may be a little gun shy and talking about their story, this may be another venue where they can talk. And then in addition to that, we'll be doing blogs every week and providing education and resources for all of the people that come to our meetings. And so that's where we're starting. We're going to scale this based on participation. We anticipate having weekly meetings eventually, where 1 week out of the month would be dedicated to education. So really what sets us apart from some of the other programs, outside of the fact that it includes both people with AUD, ALD, and transplant, is the education piece. Because LifeRing, I will mention LifeRing just because I've been going to this meeting for about 6 months now, and the facilitator of this meeting, Sue, has been incredibly helpful to me. But they do have one meeting about medical, and this is one of the things where, when the tide is high, all the boats will float. And so I saw a gap. I didn't know about this program ahead of time, but I do see the differentiators that we have between a LifeRing meeting and us. And it's also because we have this comprehensive support above and beyond just a meeting a week. So that's some of the things about our meeting. And then the whole health advisory council that we just met with yesterday, and they are so enthusiastic about about helping us to answer medical questions, to be presenters, and to ensure that people are getting good information, credible information, and we don't have, as you know, misinformation that goes out far and wide and a lot faster than true information. So that's what we hope to provide our people. And it's for across the board, from if you just have steatotic liver disease caused by alcohol, all the way through to you may be years past having a transplant, because we think having that group together, people can learn from each other. But eventually we will start targeting like some of these other organizations, a women's group, a men's group, maybe ethnicity. So as we grow, we're going to be shaping this organization for the people who become a part of it. Beth, do you have anything to add to that?
Beth Lehman.
I don't want people who have, or physicians or providers to think of the transplant patient as a cured patient, that kind of thing, because I say it all the time. And sometimes I say this to prove a point if I'm struggling or not, but the transplant fixed my body. It didn't fix my brain. So the same issues that I had when I was drinking are still in me, and I have to use tools that I've learned to stay sober. And I will share something here that I haven't shared much with anybody, is that my drinking addiction has quickly become a shopping addiction. And, it's the same behavior, same thing like that. And it has gotten to a point where, I now submit receipts for everything I get to my husband. You have to understand the behavior. And as the post-transplant patient, there's a place for you within Sober Livers, because not only can you keep learning, did you know you have to go to a dermatologist every 6 months? And also for the chance for you to share your experiences with those that are coming behind you, which I haven't met a transplant patient yet, maybe just one or two, that doesn't want to help somebody that's coming behind them. Because I tell everybody, I think they implant like some kind of juice in you when they do the transplant, that for some reason you wake up, you've received this gift and you want to go help somebody. And that's very common.
Yeah, we're finding that a lot with people stepping up and stepping forward. And with that said, with what Beth just said, is as we have our groups and our Facebook groups and other things, people are going to bubble up to the top that want to help other people. And we would like to have them start a mentor peer program where they are actually mentoring people one-on-one as well. So that is in the mix of what we're doing with Sober Livers and with the Hope program too. So, and Beth makes a really good point, which is why we're looking at this very holistically, and we're looking at the mental health side of things, because most people who have alcohol use disorder also have some sort of mental distress as well, be it anxiety, depression, PTSD, like I have. I have all three.
They may not know it at the time, which I didn't. I thought I was fine. And then through therapy realized, no, I wasn't fine.
So if I were a physician or a provider and I had a patient who I thought needed to find their way to Sober Livers, do you have, or the health professionals you've been working with, do they have thoughts about a way to do that will be encouraging as compared to pushing people to recede deeper into whatever shell they're in?
Yeah, just in the past 2 weeks, I've been in hospitals a lot and distributing my card and some Sober Livers documentation. And the doctors and the nurses that see this information are, number one, first excited about it, because anytime you are going through cancer, let's take, for example, they're more than likely going to give you some information for the American Cancer Society if you haven't already picked it up from the pamphlets that were sitting in the lobby, right? I had to visit a surgeon yesterday with my husband for heart valve replacement surgery. Right there in the room was a support document for a group to support for them. So the key for us, and where this podcast really can help us, is getting the word out there that we're there. I have not met a physician, a nurse, anybody in the medical industry that does not feel like this is a good idea. So the biggest problem we have is just letting them know that we're there. And so I dumped a bunch of cards off at the hospital. So we'll see. It's grassroots is what it is.
So for anyone who's listening to this and wants to know more about how to get material from you all or help their patients, the website is soberlivers.org?
That's it. soberlivers.org. And there is, to come to one of our meetings, and this is really important, we're not sharing the Zoom link out to everyone. You must sign up first. It just asks a simple question. Do you have liver disease? How you found out about us? And we get their email so that people can receive an invitation to join the meeting. And that's for everyone's safety and protection. That's what we would encourage people to do right there on that front page of the website. There's a way to link yourself over to that page, and it's very simple to to fill out. And so for any doctors or any physician assistants or nurse practitioners or nurses that are out there listening to this, all they need to do is go to that website or share that website with their patients. But they can also go there to find out more information about us and who we are and what the HOPE program really is.
And now back to Roger.
I hope you've enjoyed this recording. If you have any questions or comments about the content of this conversation or the entire episode, please put them in the review section of the page from which you downloaded this conversation, or send an email to questions@surfingmesh.com. Over this week, we will be posting a series of one-on-one conversations I had with some of our friends over the course of the EASL Congress, and then a wrap-up with Jorn, Louise, and me later in the week. We will have other EASL conversations throughout the month. Until then, stay safe, surf on. We'll see you on the podcast. Bye-bye now.